One of the reasons people struggle with knowing when their wisdom is talking versus their crappy thinking is because they are living so fast and it's so innocent. They're living at the speed of light, and therefore they're not entirely sensitive to the flavor of their wisdom versus the flavor of everything else. So as much as you can take a few moments to connect with yourself, to get an answer, to slow down your breathing and slow down your mind, it's just really good for you. It starts to give you a sense of clarity about who's in the driving seat. Is it wisdom? Is it crappy thinking? Now, crappy thinking is just easier to hear sometimes. It's habitual, it's noisy. It seems like your friend because it's been there maybe longer or more of the time. It's very familiar. But we really know the difference between our wisdom and crappy thinking based on the feeling. The feeling of wisdom is so different to the feeling of crappy thought. Crappy thoughts come with all sorts of complicated feelings. And I'll give you an example. It occurred to me recently that I would make a decision and I'd be kind of excited about the decision. And then I would be scaring myself about the decision. So it could be something so random like, great, oh yes, I'd love to do that. So in that kind of, yes, that'd be lovely. Everything felt simple and easy and normal. And then I would lie in bed at night and start sort of scaring myself about, well, what if I go there and I can't get back? And what if my dogs get sick? And what if I don't like the food? What if they start talking about Francesco and I start crying? What if, right? Scaring ourselves is a really common habit. And if you don't know you're doing that, you're in trouble. Until you see it, you just live in that feeling of, gosh, why am I overthinking this? Why is this so difficult? So, you want to start to get a feel for the flavor of wisdom and the flavor of crappy thinking. And that's going to be very personal to you. I just know for me that a crappy thinking comes with a flavor of fear. It comes with that flavor. And I used to think that flavor meant something about my decision. It doesn't mean anything about your decision. The feeling of fear is letting you know that you're paying attention to crappy thoughts. That's a game changer in all our lives. The number of years that we perhaps have spent thinking that the feeling of fear is informing us about the future. It's very important. We must pay attention to this fearful feeling. It's telling us we shouldn't go for dinner this weekend. No. The feeling of fear is informing you that you're lost in crappy thought. If you're really not meant to do that decision or go and do that thing, your wisdom comes in without a gun to your head. Your wisdom doesn't need to put a gun to your head. It's just common sense. It's so simple, we miss it. It's so flavored with love and simplicity and easiness that we doubt it, because my God, we're so used to everything being so damn hard and complicated. Couldn't be this easy, Grace, you know? So you want to start just getting a flavor for the difference between these two aspects. Now, crappy thinking isn't bad. It's not wrong. It's just not always very helpful. Like in the case of scaring yourself about doing something. I've been thinking about, oh, I've got to start driving on the motorway. I've never driven on the motorway. Francesco did all the driving on the motorway. Oh God, how am I going to start doing that? And initially the desire has been, oh, I want to do that. It's going to be really good for me to just be able to go back to my town in my own car and drive around and get confident on the Italian roads again. And so the flavor of that was like, yeah, nice. Yeah. And then the crappy thinking comes in to scare the life out of you. Like, oh, but you could get lost. Oh, but you don't know how to read a map. Oh, but Francesco did all the driving because you're not good at that. Like, you really like that's a crappy thinking is not helpful information. Crappy thinking is there to let you know, it's kind of there to try and keep you safe, but it's trying to keep you safe from an illusion that doesn't exist. So the more you can start to go in the direction of acknowledging and honoring your wisdom when it occurs in the simplest things. I'll give you another example. I used to go to the restaurant, I'd open the menu, I would take ages looking at what I was going to eat. And then it occurred to me one day, whatever jumps off the page first, let's just start getting that. I mean, let's stop all this analyzing about, well, if I eat that, I'm going to feel like this. And if I don't eat that, and I need to eat this, and I shouldn't eat that. No, that's all crappy thinking. Let's open the menu and just see what jumps off the page first. And I started doing that. And that's another form of your wisdom won't lead you wrong. And yes, sometimes you might order something that you're like, I'm not sure I'd order that again. So what? Just like sometimes you might get lost on the road and you might not know the way. So what? You take another turn. So what? You turn back. So what? You switch on Google Maps. We want to just lighten up about getting life wrong or right, or making sure we make the right decision, making sure we do the right thing. Because ultimately, with wisdom in the driving seat, it's very rare that things get messy. In fact, I've often said wisdom cleans up every mess. So again, these flavors, start to know your flavors. So if you are using the example of opening the menu and just picking something, like, what's the flavor of that? Does it feel easy? Is the flavor easy? Is the flavor simple? Is the flavor joy? Is the flavor, let's say, non-attachment, contentment? Start to get a feel for the flavor. And don't use, as best you can, don't use your feelings of fear, worry, stress, tension, or upset. Don't use those feelings as indicators that you're on the wrong path, or you've made the wrong decision, or you're with the wrong man, or you're with the wrong woman, or you're in the wrong job. No, that is the biggest lie we've ever been told, because nobody knew. This is a new paradigm we're looking at. Those feelings mean crappy thinking going on. Quieten down a little bit. Come back to center. Let's see what makes sense.